Let's kick off this explainer by diving straight into one of the most freezing, totally confusing experiences we all go through. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's when someone seems to dislike you for absolutely no reason. You haven't done a single thing to them, you might barely even know them, but man, you can just feel it in the air. They're cold, they're distant, and honestly, it completely messes with your head. People will always tell you, oh, just ignore it, or hey, just be extra sweet to them until they warm up. But we all know that's not how this works, because when someone hates you for no reason, there actually is a reason. It's just really not what you think. Almost instantly, you start replaying every single interaction in your head, asking yourself this exact question. Did I do something wrong? Did I miss a social cue? Was I accidentally offensive? It's just human nature to try and solve the puzzle, because your brain desperately wants to find a logical, rational reason for all this awkward tension. But here is the absolute, undeniable truth of the situation. You didn't do anything wrong. The friction you're feeling right now, it is literally not a result of your behavior.
Actually, scratch that. It's not about what you did, it's about what you represent to them. Your confidence, your happiness, or maybe your recent success is simply triggering a massive threat response in their brain. Maybe you're super confident and that just painfully reminds them that they aren't. Or your baseline happiness highlights their own misery. Whatever it is, it's about them, not you. And the fascinating thing is, when people feel threatened by what someone represents, they all start following a highly predictable, incredibly specific playbook. We're going to break down 5 specific identifiable patterns they use, so the next time you spot them, you can finally stop taking it personally.
Okay, let's look at the first behavior. We'll call this selective hostility. They use this as a silent power move to make you feel small and completely excluded. This is usually the earliest, most obvious red flag. You walk into a room and they are the life of the party, right? They're warm, they're laughing, joking around. But the second you step into the circle, boom, the smile vanishes, the energy totally drops, and they either get totally quiet or literally walk away. You're just left standing there wondering what on earth just happened. And trust me, this isn't just social anxiety, and they aren't just having a bad day.
It is a brilliantly intentional contrast. Their brain has flagged you as a threat. So they create this sudden distance to avoid accepting you. Because think about it, being friendly with you would mean accepting you into the group, and they absolutely do not want to do that. They want you to notice this massive glaring shift in their mood. They're trying to make you feel completely excluded without ever having to say a single aggressive word. It's a totally calculated psychological power move.
That brings us to the second red flag, which is deliberate avoidance. You're going to see this happen constantly in group settings. It can be subtle at first, but once you know to look for it, you'll spot it everywhere. Whenever it's your turn to speak, suddenly their phone is the most fascinating object in the universe, or they'll stare at the ceiling or make eye contact with literally anyone else in the room except you. They'll be perfectly normal with everybody else, but with you, complete physical avoidance. You see, eye contact signals respect and connection. So on a subconscious level, refusing to look at you is their way of refusing to validate your existence. By avoiding your gaze, they're basically treating you like you just aren't worth their attention. In their mind, remember, you are competition. You're a threat. Looking you in the eye acknowledges that you matter, and they are actively, desperately trying to deny you that validation. It's a way of broadcasting their dislike loud and clear without making a sound.
And this avoidance naturally escalates right into our third behavior, social invalidation. This one is specifically designed to diminish your influence, and it happens all the time in the workplace or, during group projects. You share a genuinely good idea, and they just ignore it. They might talk right over you or literally act like the room is empty. But then, fast forward 5 minutes later, someone else says basically the exact same thing you just said, and suddenly they spring to life.
They'll enthusiastically tell that other person what a genius they are just to make absolutely sure you don't get a single drop of social credit. I mean, think about how incredibly frustrating this is. You're sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? I literally just said that. But that's exactly the point. Acknowledging your idea would give you power in that room, and they absolutely refuse to let you have that. If they can make your input seem totally irrelevant, they think they can make you irrelevant. It's never actually about the idea itself. It's entirely about controlling who gets the praise. Behavior 4 is reputation sabotage. This is a very sneaky, super low-risk social strategy they use to isolate the threat you pose by turning others against you.
The tricky part is, you usually don't even see this one happening in real time. You just hear about it later through the grapevine. And they aren't throwing out direct, terrible insults. It's way more calculated. We're talking about a series of very subtle, quiet digs meant to plant tiny seeds of doubt in the minds of the people around you. Because they can't attack you directly, since there's no real reason to dislike you, they rely on hearsay and these totally vague statements to safely damage your reputation. It is a brilliant, totally toxic strategy. They'll say something like, they seem nice, but something just feels off about them. I mean, how do you even defend yourself against something feels off? You can't. And that is exactly why they do it. They have to invent a vague narrative to turn people against you so they don't have to deal with you all by themselves. It's all about isolating the target. And because it's just whispered hearsay, it keeps them completely safe from confrontation. Which leads to the fifth, and honestly the most telling behavior of all, success resentment. You'll see this in their tight, forced smiles and completely uncomfortable body language whenever you hit a goal. Imagine you just landed a big promotion or achieved something you're super proud of. While everyone else is genuinely cheering you on, this person is just stiff. They might force out a quick congrats, but you can literally feel the lack of sincerity. Their face is practically screaming that your win is genuinely bothering them. They will do whatever it takes to downplay your achievements because, to them, life is a zero-sum competition. So every win for you feels like a painful personal loss for them. Your success just shines a giant spotlight on their own lack of success, so they have to minimize it. They'll toss out something passive-aggressive, like, it's not that hard to get promoted in that department, right? They have to make your massive moment seem tiny, because if they acknowledge how great you're doing, they're forced to face how far behind they feel. It's the ultimate proof that this has nothing to do with you. So, what does this all mean? The absolute most crucial takeaway here is that all 5 of these toxic behaviors stem from one singular dramatic root cause: insecurity. When someone is genuinely secure in who they are, your presence doesn't threaten them at all. You could be the most successful, charismatic person in the room, and a secure person is just going to be happy for you. But when someone is deeply insecure, well, that changes the whole game. Instead of actually dealing with their own internal struggles, they project it all onto you because you remind them of everything they're not. In psychology, this is known as the mirror effect. You basically become a walking, talking mirror. Everything that you are, that they desperately wish they were, just gets reflected right back into their eyes. And they hate looking at that reflection. So what's the easiest way out? They just hate you instead. Making you the problem is so much easier than doing the really hard work of fixing their own internal mess. When we put these two mindsets side by side, the contrast is wild. A truly secure, happy person is way too busy building their own amazing life to waste time hating on you. But an insecure person, their entire focus shifts to watching your success. They become obsessed with it. And it's physically painful for them because it's a constant walking reminder of what they haven't achieved themselves. And this brings us to what is probably the hardest pill to swallow in this whole explainer. You cannot fix this by being nicer. Seriously, because their real issue is entirely internal. Proving your worth or trying to be the sweetest person on earth simply won't work. We all try to do it right. We think if I just help them out or if I'm just overly kind, they'll finally come around. They won't. You could literally be the kindest, most generous human on the planet, and they would still dig up a reason to dislike you, because your behavior was never the problem. Until they heal their own insecurity, nothing you do is going to change a thing. So how do you handle this? To take your power back, you need to follow these exact steps. Step 1, stop trying to win them over. You cannot logic someone out of a totally emotional position. Step 2, and this is absolutely vital, do not take it personally. You are just the trigger for their insecurity. You are not the cause of it. Once you really internalize that, their AC behavior completely loses its grip on you. And step 3, keep being exactly who you are. Don't you dare shrink yourself just to make a deeply insecure person feel more comfortable. If you dim your own light to appease them, you lose. And guess what? They still won't like you anyway. Ultimately, as we wrap up this explainer, the best thing you can do is stop questioning your own worth and leave them with one undeniable reality. Give them absolutely no reason to think you care about their baseless dislike. You have the blueprint now. You know the 5 behaviors to look out for, and you know the deep insecurity that's secretly driving all of them. So the next time someone treats you like you're invisible or gets all weird and resentful about your hard-earned success, I want you to ask yourself this. Are you really going to let someone else's unhealed... Let's kick off